Before we dive into this dark mystery from England's past, grab yourself a warm cup of coffee and your favorite snack. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next stories. Now, let's begin. In the dark, fog-filled alleys of Victorian London, a figure emerged who would haunt history forever. He had no face, no clear identity, only a name given by fear itself: Jack the Ripper. Between August and November 1888, the East End district of Whitechapel was gripped by a series of brutal murders. Women were slaughtered with precision and cruelty, their bodies left in the shadows of narrow streets. The case remains unsolved to this very day, and the mystery surrounding the Ripper continues to spark fascination, fear, and endless theories. This is not just the story of a killer. It is the story of a society on edge, of poverty and desperation, and of the terrifying realization that monsters sometimes wear human skin. The East End of London was a place forgotten by wealth and progress. While the rest of the city flaunted its riches, Whitechapel drowned in poverty. Streets overflowed with beggars, drunkards, and the homeless. Families lived crammed together in damp, filthy rooms. Prostitution was rampant, not out of choice, but survival. The atmosphere was suffocating. Cobblestone streets shrouded in fog, the flicker of gas lamps and the smell of sweat and gin. Crime was already part of daily life, but then something far more sinister entered the picture. The first victims. The terror began on August 31st, 1888. Mary Ann Nichols, known as Polly, was found in Bucks Row. Her throat had been slashed, her abdomen mutilated. Just a week later, on September 8th, Annie Chapman suffered the same fate. Her body was left in a yard, organs partially removed with what seemed like surgical skill. The brutality shocked even the hardened residents of Whitechapel. Police were baffled. This wasn't ordinary violence. These murders had method, purpose, and a darkness that went beyond desperation. And then came the double event. On the night of September 30th, two women, Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes, were murdered within an hour of each other. One body was found in Dutfield's yard, the other in Mitre Square, horrifically mutilated. Finally, in November, Mary Jane Kelly was discovered in her small room at Miller's Court. Her body was mutilated beyond recognition. To this day, her murder is remembered as one of the most gruesome crimes in British history. Panic and press. News of the murders spread like wildfire. Newspapers splashed bloody headlines across their pages. For the first time, crime reporting became sensationalized, feeding both fear and curiosity. The people of London demanded answers. Who was this monster stalking their streets? Every shadow became suspicious, every stranger a possible killer. Rumors swirled. Some whispered it was a butcher, others a doctor. Some believed it was even a member of the royal family. The paranoia spread faster than the fog that cloaked Whitechapel. The letters of the Ripper. As the panic grew, letters began to arrive at police stations and newspaper offices. The most infamous, signed Jack the Ripper, taunted investigators. Written in red ink, one letter promised more killings. Another package delivered a piece of human kidney, supposedly from one of the victims. But were these letters genuine, or hoaxes designed to stir chaos? Historians still debate. Yet one thing is clear: the name Jack the Ripper was born from these taunts, sealing his place in infamy. Investigation in the shadows. London's police force threw everything at the case. Detectives walked the streets night after night, questioning prostitutes, patrolling alleys, searching for any clue. but evidence was scarce. Forensics, as we know it today, barely existed in 1888. Fingerprinting wasn't yet in use. DNA analysis was a fantasy. The investigation was hampered by confusion and pressure. Hundreds of suspects were questioned, but no clear evidence tied anyone to the murders. The Ripper vanished into the fog as suddenly as he appeared. The suspects. Over the decades, countless theories have emerged about who Jack the Ripper truly was. Some of the most infamous suspects include Montague John Druitt, a barrister and teacher who drowned in the Thames shortly after the last murder. Kosminski, a Polish immigrant with mental illness who lived near the murder sites. Michael Ostrog, a Russian conman and criminal. Prince Albert Victor, grandson of Queen Victoria, whose supposed involvement has fueled endless conspiracy theories. And even a woman known as Jill the Ripper, suggesting the killer might not have been a man at all. Yet despite the theories, none have ever been proven. The Ripper remains a shadow without a face. The aftermath. When the murders stopped as abruptly as they began, London was left with scars that went deeper than the cobblestone streets. Whitechapel became a symbol of fear, but also of fascination. Writers, journalists, and even conspiracy theorists turned the killings into legend. Jack the Ripper was no longer just a murderer. He was a phantom, a story whispered through generations. Legacy of a killer. Jack the Ripper's story has never left us. Books, films, and documentaries continue to resurrect him. Historians debate the evidence, crime enthusiasts chase new theories, and the mystery keeps breathing. The terror of 1888 lingers, because Jack was never caught. The fear of the unknown is far greater than the fear of the known. The faceless figure who slaughtered women in Whitechapel remains immortal in the annals of crime. In the end, Jack the Ripper is not just a story about death. It is about society's fear, about the darkness that can hide in plain sight, and about mysteries that refuse to die. Perhaps the scariest truth is this: the Ripper could have been anyone. A neighbor, a passerby, a man in the crowd who stopped to watch the chaos. He walked the same streets, breathed the same fog, and then disappeared forever. And that is why, more than a century later, the question still remains: who was Jack the Ripper? Today, the streets of Whitechapel are transformed. Modern buildings stand where slums once sprawled. But if you walk those streets on a cold night, when the mist rolls in, you may feel a shadow watching. Jack the Ripper was never caught. His face remains a mystery, his identity forever debated. But perhaps that is why he endures. He was not just a man with a knife. He was the fear that lives in the dark corners of every city, the reminder that evil often wears no face at all. And so, his name echoes across time: Jack the Ripper.